This Rockingham 2025 DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at underdogfantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credit.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today is DFS Day, Cody. We're diving into the DFS for both. This is something we don't do very often. We don't get to talk about anymore, the DFS for Xfinity and or truck. So kind of nice, Cody, to be able to dive back into the DFS world for both of these series.
Yes, it is. It's boy, we love trucks. We love Xfinity. We still get to talk about them betting, of course, each week, but we don't get to dig into the DFS side of things as much as we had before. So it is nice to again have this highlighted week of being able to focus on both series.
I had to dive deeper into the name bag again because I was like, wait a second, I haven't talked about some of these guys in months because it's not somebody we talk about on a weekly basis, because Truck Series, as we know, is pretty top heavy. So when it comes to betting, then we're kind of recycling the same 6 or 7 names here and there with a couple sprinkled in. But yeah, this time we get to open up the playbook a little bit and talk about some guys deeper down the roster.
You know how much I love talking about guys deeper down the roster. I mean, we don't get top 10s. Well, we got them like one time in the Truck Series. So we don't get an opportunity to talk about some of these guys as often, other than, we go to like a Talladega or something like that, where we can maybe dig a little deeper into the bag of tricks. But it's fun to highlight some of these drivers.
It is indeed. And of course, we are at Rockingham, the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Like we said, it is trucks. It is Xfinity. The Cup guys are off, and believe you me, they are off. They are probably all over the globe enjoying a week of not having to worry about sitting in their cars for 4 hours at a time, beating and banging with each other. And I'm pretty sure that they're all excited about that. But yeah, so this is just the 2 series in action. And it's funny. We were talking in the Discord earlier about this being a perfect weekend for WrestleMania because the Cup Series is off on Sunday, so we don't have to compete with them on Sunday.
Yeah, if you guys say so. Why?
Man, why you hating on my childhood?
I don't hate wrestling. It's not something I've gotten into. So maybe someday that'll change. I probably wouldn't bet on it, but.
Well, I was going to say, literally bet on it, and then it'll definitely.
That's actually what would change my mind. So yeah, that's probably what will get me into it. I've gotten into a lot of other things that I once talked bad about because of betting or other angles. So there you go.
I'll have plenty of bets for you later on if you want to place some bets on it. So that'll be fun for it as well.
I want to place bets. Of course, I want to place bets, Rod.
Challenge accepted. Then I'll give you some and you place them. And then when you win, you'll be all excited about it. So, although speaking of placing bets and finding the place to find all of our bets, make sure you head over and download our SGPN app, where you can also get in on our NBA playoffs contest. The NBA playoffs are here, and SGPN is running another free contest. Pick every NBA playoff game against the spread. $1,000 goes to first place, and the winner takes all. If you enter today right now at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA playoffs. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA playoffs. Cody, how much does that contest cost?
Like everything on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, really high price to get stuff around here. It is free. Look at that. Weird.
Checks the math. It's free. Yeah, no, for sure. Make sure you get that. And you find all of the other stuff that's going on, all the other shows, everything on the SGPN app. Make sure you download that. And then while you're at it, if you like this video, if you like the show that we're on right now, do us a little favor. Drop us a 5-star review. Drop us some fives. You know, it doesn't matter if 5 stars. I like it if it's 5 stars, but you vote your heart. You vote your heart. You know, I prefer it if it's a 5-star review, but definitely do that. And then like and subscribe. So damn close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So very close. I can taste it. We got to get there.
Yeah, we're really not far away. It's down to 68. It was 69 yesterday. Very nice. Now it is even nicer because it's only 68. So yeah, if you're listening to this, click that subscribe button. Help us cross that 1,000 threshold mark. We really appreciate it.
Indeed. All right, we are at the Rockingham Speedway, like I said, and Trucks and Xfinity. And as we always do on our DFS episodes, we will give you our favorite high-priced driver, our mid-tier driver, and our low-tier driver. This, of course, for both of the series. So we'll talk trucks first, and then we'll come back after the break, the mid-break, and we'll talk about Xfinity after that. So, yeah, Cody, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of news that we can cover at this point other than the fact that, yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I think that's about it. You know, I did see, and I didn't read into it at the time, which I probably should have done, but I will look at it super fast while I talk now. IndyCar did update their replacement driver status for the Indy 500. And I was thinking that maybe this was only be considered if the primary driver is all. Yes, this is the Kyle Larson rule. So the way that Indy 500 has been recently, now in the past it had been different, but you know, if you start the race, if Kyle Larson starts the race, then Tony Kanaan cannot get into the car. If Larson has to get out to go make the NASCAR race, which he will do if it gets into that situation, or the plan would have been him not to start the race because they knew they wouldn't be able to finish it because of the new NASCAR rule. Then, you know, if the driver who starts the race is not able to finish it, it's done. They park it. But they've updated the rule, the Kyle Larson rule here. A replacement driver will only be considered the primary driver if the primary driver is also participating in another marquee event with the driver's principal racing series on Indianapolis 500 day.
I mean,
so literally it should just say a replacement driver will be considered if Kyle Larson is also racing in the Coca-Cola 600. So yeah, the IndyCar veteran, you know, they got to go through the veteran thing, blah, blah, blah. So that, I would imagine, changes the plan where even if the 500 is delayed, Kyle could start it. If he needs to get out to get to the Coke 600, then Kanaan could get in, finish the race. Because I know right now the plan was if the 500 is delayed at all, likely Kanaan was going to be starting it and Kyle would just head to Charlotte. Now he may at least be able to run a portion or a lot of the race or whatever before they need to make the switch, or depending on what's going on in Charlotte. Things like that. So opens up the playbook a little more for them and allowing Kyle to hopefully at least be able to start the 500, if nothing else.
Hey, we're going to allow only 40 chartered cars in the field, unless there's a superstar from another field that needs to be in the race, and then we'll extend it. But even then, if we don't do it, and if he makes it, then we don't do it. But if we do it, then we close it up. Yes. Yeah, I've heard this language before.
When they just keep creating this, it's like NASCAR, like, if a driver were to participate in another series and choose that over our series, like, boy, who could they be talking about? I wonder who last year didn't show up to a race because they were participating in another series. Weird.
Yeah, no, it's funny because you got to write these laws. You can only get away with things once before something else changes it. And then if they change the rules so you can get away with it again, then you must be a very special person. So absolutely love it. All right. We are talking trucks. This is the Black's Tire 200 from the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. We are set for 200 laps around this mile track. Again, we talked about it before. This is a very unique track, one that the Truck Series has not been on for a very long time. 2013 was the last time they've been on this. So pretty much none of the drivers outside of Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter have ever been on this track before. So a lot of these guys are experiencing it for the first time. No real comparison tracks. I mean, you can look at some of Dover if you like the banking and the paving part of it. And I don't know. We brought up some other tracks yesterday, Cody, like Richmond and maybe Darlington for some little bit of semblance, but really this is it. And then it's been repaved. So we don't know how this is going to race. We don't know if there's going to be a person that leads a ton of laps, and we just don't know.
There's some people out there that know, Rob. They'll be quick to tell you exactly how it's going to be. So
I didn't get.
Make sure you listen to. Well, you got to listen to their show. Well, that might be hard, I guess. But anyways, yes, we don't know how this is going to race. Like we talked about yesterday, is it a short track? Probably not. Is it a bigger track? Probably not completely. Is it going to be fast? Oh, I said that it was going to be fast if you listen to the whole show, because that was part of. Okay. Anyways, I got to stop letting these people get into my mind, Rod. But yeah, it's going to be a fast track, and it's going to probably race similar to a Dover, like you mentioned. And we just don't know. It's going to be fast. It's probably going to look a lot like Bristol last week in the act of not going to be a ton of passing, not a ton of options, because it's repaved and just that's where we're at. So yeah, I don't think anybody knows how exactly it's going to race, but it'll be interesting, and we're in for a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, 200 laps, again, they click off quickly, and yet they don't at the same time. So it's a matter of trying to find the people that we think are going to do good. And as we handicapped this race for the actual betting aspect of it, we were talking about guys that have done well lately, because that's all we really have to draw off of. And for DFS purposes, it's a lot of the same thing. Who have our dominators been all season long? Who have been the trucks that have been out front? Who have been the trucks that have proven that they can put solid finishes together? And then, as we start to build out the card a little bit more, or build out the lineup a little bit more, then you think of, okay, who's been finishing well, but starting poorly, and all that other good stuff. Normal DFS considerations, but keep in mind, as you're putting your lineup together, we're all watching this with fresh eyes as well.
Yeah, and there is no track data to look at. There's nothing to go off of. So we're going to be looking at the fast trucks and cars up front. We're going to be looking at the faster teams. We're going to be looking at the veteran drivers. Those are just kind of the things that we've chosen to pick out because, again, there is nothing to look at and nothing to go on for where we've been at recently. So, what have you done for me so far this year? What have you looked like in a general sense over the last couple of years? Whatever the case may be, just some different ways to kind of approach it.
I mean, there's one driver that's got a chapter on him on this one, but yeah, we're not talking about Matt Crafton today, but go back in the betting episode a couple days ago and you'll hear all the Matt Crafton talk you want. So
yes.
All right. You know what, Cody, I would like to go at this with very few interruptions. So we'll take our first break, and then when we'll come back, we'll start breaking down our mid-tier, our low price, high price, and all those drivers that you've come to know and love. So hang tight, and let's tell you about Edge Boost. Have you ever had your deposit blocked by your bank right before a big bet? Have you ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but hit your ATM limit? Raise your hand if you are. Yeah, I see you. That's fine. I get you. For me, I know that I was in Virginia a few months back, and I was ready to place my legal betting card. I was ready to put all my bets down, and I went to go deposit my money, and my bank told me, no, thank you. And I asked it why, and it said, we don't want you to spend your money there. I was pissed because it's my money. I should spend it the way I want to. And Edge Boost will never say no to me because they've got my back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it without the delays that come with traditional banks. And for all you high rollers out there, if you want, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits, so you never got to wait for a wire to clear again. Gets better, too. Every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5%. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you are ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost has a suite of responsibly gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. So what are you waiting for? Go to www.edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's www.edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Sign up for Edge Boost today. We are also brought to you by mybookie.ag. Absolutely love mybookie.ag because they have everything you need under the sun, and it's your perfect place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs, plus props for every game. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, probably even yours. Lightning fast deposits and payouts using cryptocurrency. I was telling you the other day, and now here's for Cody. I'm going to tell Cody right now because there is wrestling on there. It is WrestleMania weekend, as everybody knows. And guess what? If you would like to say that it is Tiffy time still for the women's championship, she's going off at -110 over Charlotte Flair, who shouldn't even be back, but that's all right. So give me Tiffany Stratton over Charlotte Flair -110 to retain the women's championship. And I don't know how you give Jacob Fatu the United States championship. It's got to be LA Knight. Yeah, +325 for LA Knight over Jacob Fatu for the United States championship. Got to keep the title in his hands. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Yes, sir. And for fun, I can watch the entire LA Knight and Jake Paul. Little spat going. That was a fun little thing that was happening. But yeah,
Sounds very exciting. I know Kyle Larson was going to meet Jake Paul this week for the first time because Kyle Larson, of course, is a Prime driver, sponsored by Prime, and Paul owns that. So, yeah, and he'll be at WrestleMania. So there's your racing connection to wrestling this weekend.
I love it. All right, speaking of what else I love is building DFS lineups. And Cody, as we always do, we'll introduce our high-price, mid-tier, and low-price drivers. So, Cody, who's our high-price driver for this truck race this weekend?
Yes, back to the real sports. You took the guy that, of course, I was going to play. How'd you like that dig, Rod? You're welcome. You took the guy at the top of the board, the obvious guy. You'll talk about him, and you have to play him this week. I agree with you completely. But I'm going to go to the next guy on the board. It's Chandler Smith near the top of this, 10,800. You know, there are weeks, and if you typically don't play truck or Xfinity DFS, and you're kind of coming into this like, oh, no cup this week, we'll check it out. It's not always you just play the chalk at the top of the board, but this week there is a lot of it because this is going to be a track that's going to come down to who has fast cars, who has fast trucks, and who the good drivers are. And Chandler Smith is one of those guys. We just saw it last week at Bristol. He led 127 laps, 53 fastest laps. Started in third, won the race. Of course, cashed our 9-1 ticket there, but 102.6 points. That's what you're looking for. And again, I think this race is going to race this track. I think is going to race a lot similar to Bristol. This is bigger, obviously, and it's going to race somewhat differently. But I think there are going to be some comparisons for sure. And Smith is a guy that I was high on coming into this year. We saw him in Xfinity last year. In the JGR cars, doing really well, having good days. And again, that's the fast car. You get to a bigger track. And, if this is going to run closer to an intermediate with these faster trucks, the front row trucks, I like that a lot. But had a pretty solid season so far. Didn't really blow up until last week with 102 points, but 40, 43, 50, 66 kind of before that. So some decent days, but we know that Chandler Smith is that guy. Now he's got a win already in the bank, checked off. He can kind of go out there and do his thing. And I'm kind of expecting a big weekend from Chandler Smith. So give me Chandler Smith, 10,800 is my high-priced truck driver.
Yeah, I can't argue with Chandler Smith at all. In fact, I talked about him a little bit too on the betting episode, so I'm with you on that one. But yeah, the guy I took, Cody, that I had to take, and I felt like I was responsible enough to be able to say this without, taking him away from you. But Corey Heim, $1,100. It is Heim time. He's the most dominant driver out there right now. He's the guy that's already won 2 races out of the 6th. And oh, by the way, could have won another couple of them had things not fall, his truck not started to fall apart, a couple of late race restarts, or late race restarts. You can say that 3 times fast. But look, 6 starts, 5 top 10s, 4 top 5s, 2 wins. And I mean, we're talking varied tracks here, right? We're talking super speedway. He won at Daytona. We're talking 1.5 mile intermediate. He won at Las Vegas. We're talking Bristol short track. He went 3rd place at that one as well. So yeah, I mean, he's got 2 poles this season as well. I mean, look, there's no way that you can get away with not having Corey Heim. He's led 292 laps so far this season, which, I mean, I don't have to tell you is a feat in and of itself. So yeah, Corey Heim, each and every week. I know he's the most priciest guy. I know you're saying, Rod, it's not hard to suggest Corey Heim. I get that, but also it's hard to talk yourself, or it's easy to talk yourself out of Corey Heim because he seems so obvious, because he seems so chalky on a week-to-week basis. But this is where you just don't overthink yourself. This is where you just don't overplay yourself, right? I mean, a lot of the experts try to stay away from giving you the obvious play because it's the obvious play. But what else are you going to do? I mean, sometimes
just like you could have talked yourself out of Larson last week at Bristol in the Cup race, right? Because you could have said, well, look at Darlington, lap 7, he just took himself out. Then later on, he just takes himself out again. Like, he looked like an inexperienced, not good. But you knew at Bristol that this is how it was going to race. You knew that he was going to be up front. And holy shit, he leads 423 of 500 laps. If you didn't have him in DFS, well, sucks you didn't win anything because you absolutely had to have him.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about today's society where we always want to just go against the grain because, far be it from me to do what everybody else is going to do because I think that's boring. That's not good content. Well, are you here for what are you here for? The content or winning money or a combination of both? Because you can't have all of it. This is not the world we live in. Get ready for disappointment. But no, listen, Corey Heim will not disappoint this week. And we talked about it too a lot. The fact that he's just been flat out good. And every week he's going to be in a good truck. So you can't deny yourself the opportunity. I know it's pricey, but we'll save you money elsewhere as well. Old Fashioned Football checking in saying, what up? What up? He says, I was not thinking, Rod, it's not hard to suggest Corey because I don't know who he is and just trust you and Cody's expertise. Well, that's what I'm talking about too. Speaking
you don't
of,
have to know. That's what
I was going to say, speaking of not knowing and trusting expertise, if you have not yet checked out Justin's Aussie Rules football picks, man, this dude's on fire. 7-1 against the spread over the last couple of weeks on a sport.
7-1 is that good?
No. Not in today's standards because he lost the 1, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. But yeah, go check that out. J Mark Football. You can find him on Twitter. He posts it out there. It's fantastic. It's another one of those niche sports that I absolutely love. So get in there.
7-1 is good unless you're in Colorado. Then 1-7, they'll retire your jersey. Sorry, I just can't. I'm feeling feisty today, Rod. All right. Love your Corey Heim play. I do agree. I think that Heim is a must play this week. Look, obviously, if you're playing in some bigger GPPs and stuff, you're going to want to build some lineups without Heim because everybody's going to play him and things can go wrong, as we always talk, right? If something bad happens, then not having him could be the winning strategy. But there is a pretty strong and solid chance that you're going to need Corey Heim in your lineups this week. So love him even at the $11,000 price tag. Another guy I like, Parker Kligerman, 8,400. Didn't get a chance to talk about on the betting episode part of things. There just wasn't a good way I could find to play him. If we could get a top 10, I love the top 10. But Parker Kligerman, we talked about this before, is a guy that you can trust. And when we're coming to an unknown track, we don't know what to expect. He is a guy we can trust. Veteran race car driver. We've talked about it before. In this 75 truck, they pick and choose the events. He's not out there each and every single week. And sometimes that is a scary thing because it's like, well, this team, but this team brings trucks that can compete and they cherry pick the schedule for here's where we think we're going to be good. Here's where we think we can set the truck up good. Here's where we think Parker's going to be good. And that's the events they show up for. We saw it last week at Bristol. Luckily, after qualifying rained out, he started back in 35th, worked all the way up to 14th place, 50 points for you there. Back in Daytona, when he won the race before he was disqualified. But doesn't matter in DFS because you still get scored for winning the race. He had 68 points for you there. Obviously, Super Speedway can be a little bit different, but Kligerman is just a guy that you can trust. We saw it the last couple of seasons in the Xfinity Series as well, in that 48 car. Not always the greatest of cars, but consistency. When we're going to a track where we don't know anything going in, and you've got a guy that you do know that you can trust, love playing some Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, I mean, look, for Parker Kligerman, you're right. He doesn't step foot in a vehicle unless he knows that he is going to run well, especially now that he's pretty much retired, right? You don't get into a bad situation and make yourself worse. And yeah, this team has always been competitive. We know Parker Kligerman is always competitive. He was competitive the last time he set foot in the trucks too. So cannot argue with you on a Parker Kligerman play for this week. Dipping into a bag I don't normally dip into, and that's the Bailey Curry bag. 60.
You couldn't have dipped into a bowl of curry. Come on, Rod. You're slipping over here.
Well, yeah, I like the red curry. He's not a bowl of curry. Boy, that would make my stomach hurt. Hate that. All right, Bailey Curry, the non-spicy curry, $6,700 for Bailey Curry. This is, like I said, not a guy that we normally talk. Well, at least I don't normally talk about. Have you really? I don't know. We've brought him up a couple of times here and there, but
probably not much.
Yeah. 34.6 fantasy points per race for Bailey Curry this season. Can you believe that? He is in a Nice Motorsports truck, which is something we tend to forget, that Bailey Curry driving the 44. Oh yeah, he's actually in damn good equipment given his teammates out there. Just because he's not the guy that's driving it to the front each and every time. You talk about Matt Mills, 42, you can kind of forget that, but hey, Caden Honeycutt, we brought him up in the betting episode last week. I was pretty much continually running inside of the top 10 and peeking his way into the top 5. So we know the equipment's good, right? We've seen the equipment with Carson Hocevar driving the hell out of it a couple of seasons ago. So we know this Nice equipment is good. It's just the drivers have to kind of drive themselves into it. And Bailey Curry has been actually doing that, not really being heralded for it, but he's been doing it. 34.6 fantasy points per race, like I said, is a pretty good achievement for a guy at $6,700. He finished 23rd last week in the Weather Guard race, 18th before that, 4th place in Atlanta, and then 22nd at Daytona. So he got you fantasy point totals of 27, 26, 68, and 17. I mean, again, we're talking guys that are much, much higher priced than him, kind of not doing the same thing. He is better than guys like Stuart Friesen, Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski, his teammate Caden Honeycutt on a points per race basis, by the way. Tanner Gray, Raja Caruth, Matt Crafton, right? These guys that he should not be performing better than, he is. And all of a sudden, here we are talking about Bailey Curry is actually a very good candidate for a mid-tier driver, and $6,700 is really not expensive if you consider it. So here you go. You can put in a guy like Corey Heim and then slide in a Bailey Curry, and you still have plenty of room to play with. So yeah, believe it or not, give me Bailey Curry this week as my mid-tier driver.
Yeah, I do not mind this at all. Curry is a solid driver. And again, back to trucks you can trust, trucks that you know are good, solid trucks. Nice is one of those trucks for sure. Justin wants to know if Jack Wood's going to be any good. Jack Wood, actually an interesting DFS play this week. 6,400. Again, trucks that are going to be fast and good. The McAnally trucks are good, and he scored 42.3 points last week at Bristol, 22 the week before, 26 the week before, 6,400. Jack Wood gets an honorable mention just for you, Justin. Saying if you're watching to make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Thank you for that, Justin. Preston just tuned in, Rod. He says, whoa, open the stream. Rod's talking about dipping his bag. Not safe for work. Boy, not safe for work.
I love it.
And TK checking in from down under. Bailey Curry was solid last week. Probably one of the ones that happened to have a strong setup. So do better with the others having no setup improvements from last week pre-race. Yes, absolutely. All right.
The only reason that I mean, he had a suspension issue, which brought him out of the race late. So 23rd is where he finished, but he led 14 laps in that race too on strategy. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that one. So, all right, Cody, who's going to save us some money?
Yeah, we got to go down to the bottom of the board here and save some money. And, I like to climb certain hills and they're a lot of fun. And I like to talk about them when we come to these episodes. And I log in the doc. And of course, my favorite play was taken, which means Rod made me work for it, because if you go, you want to spend up, you want to get Hyman here, you want to get Smith in here. And so the idea then is just kind of, who do I go to the bottom and play? I don't feel good playing Norm Benning if he makes the race, because 2 drivers will not make this race. So, of course, you'll have to check that before you set your lineup for sure. But like, Norm Benning doesn't finish races even when he does start them. So, Justin Carroll, Stephen Malazzi, like Dennison, Bird, I considered Boyd, but Malcolm in the middle, Frankie Muniz is an interesting play. You could definitely make a case for him. He's been inconsistent, but somewhat solid. But I went $100 more than Frankie Muniz, and I'm going to go with Tony Breidinger. She is 5,700. Once again, a case of fast trucks, good trucks. She's in a Tricon truck, the same as Corey Heim is. And obviously, her performance isn't nobody's performance at the level of Corey Heim, right? We all know that, but she's been pretty solid. She had a solid week last week, and it's nothing fancy either. And that is okay when you're dipping down this low and looking for these cheaper options. So, she started 28th, finished 25th. Again, you're not, writing home about that, but 20 points, that's a solid day. And you can rely on her to get you 20 points, because the week before she got you 19, and the week before she got you 17, and the week before she got you 27, the 12 at each of the super speedways to open the season. Again, hard to look at those too much anyways, but she's just consistently solid. Probably doesn't have a super high ceiling, but 27, 17, 19, 20, that's about what she does for you every single week. That's just really what I'm kind of looking for, is more of a safer play. Is these guys, the Norm Bennings, he's not going to get you much. I mean, 7 last week, 6 the week before, 32.8 at Daytona. Again, Daytona's a completely different story. You're just not getting much from farther down the board there. So I think you could still make it work. And even with these drivers we're giving out, you could easily make this work, because even after playing her before your final play, we got $7,400 to play with. So good room. But I think that Tony Breidinger kind of and she just kind of goes under the radar, which I think she doesn't mind probably. But yeah, she's consistent and kind of solid. She's in a fast truck. So I'm going to play her a little bit this week.
Yeah, TK definitely was something I was going to bring up too. I mean, she was doing well last week at Bristol until somebody spun her. And unfortunately, when you're running in the back like that, when you run with the squirrels, you get your nuts cracked, right? Oh, well, yeah. And so it sucks, because sometimes it's not of your own doing, and you can be running your own race, and all of a sudden somebody squeezes you and you're spinning. So hopefully
there should be more room this week. Obviously the track is, that was a half mile. This is a full mile. This I think is a little more narrow than like a Bristol is, but hopefully we won't run into that situation for her, and potentially she can use the speed in that truck to get a couple more spots and do well.
Indeed. It's commentary curse. That's right too, because they were bringing her up quite a bit on the broadcast, and
her truck too, just like Raising Cane's.
Mm-hmm.
That truck is so beautiful with the flames on it. Like it is a really, really good looking truck. I like it.
It is. All right. Well then, Cody, I stole 2 of your drivers, and they both start with H. So I'm taking Timmy Hill, $5,900 for one Timmy Hill. Look, $5,900 for a guy that got you 52 points at Daytona to start the season. But really, honestly, the reason that I'm taking him more than anything is because if you look at his finishes, just it is average start and his average finish when you're looking at it throughout his career, right? That's not like glaring, but you just know that he's going to get you solid finishes. In 2024, in 22 races, his average start was 26.4, average finish 21.1. Right. So that is a decent enough. He didn't lose your points in that one. In 2023, his average start 27.2, his average finish 21.3. 2022, his average start 27.6, 21.4. I mean, all of these, I read every single one of them except for maybe 2018 when he started 4 races in which his starting position did not improve by the end of whatever race he was on average, by the way. And that's what you're looking for, the kind of consistency that a guy's going to go out there, take care of his equipment. He's going to probably not qualify well, which bodes well for you, because then at the end of the day, when he's inside the top 20, when he's skirting around the top 20, he's gotten you some points. He's gotten you some differential points to go along with his finishing position. And hell, if he does scoot up into a top 11 position, then at the end of the race on accident, if there's all kinds of craziness going on, and all of a sudden he winds up in 11, and you get your 52 points off of a $50 or $6,300 investment, then, or $5,900 investment, then you are not crying whatsoever. And Timmy Hill's just one of those guys. They roll him out nowadays and let him just kind of run his truck around and take care of it to get just enough money to race in the next one. But look, man, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, which is actually a good thing because, so with Tony, you're kind of trading inexperience for a fast truck. And then you turn around with Timmy here, and it's the opposite. You have all the experience with not as good of a truck, right? I mean, nobody thinks these Hill Motorsports trucks are great, but what he's going to be able to do with it and how he's going to be able to use his truck, that's what you like, especially if we get into a race that ends up with attrition, because that's where he's always really good at. That's why he's a must play on every single super speedway. We bet on him. We play him in DFS always, him or his brother Tyler, whichever one is in the truck, because it's a family-owned team. It's a lot like the Siegs, where they know that they are the ones literally putting in the work on these trucks. They know how to take care of them. They know what to do. And he's not out there to go win this race. He's under no illusions he's going to be able to. But he's going to be out there. He's going to run a solid day. And the veteran part of him gets just enough to be worth it almost every time he gets out there. So 5,900. Again, there's a couple of good plays in this area. Hill, Breidinger, even Muniz, where you don't have to stoop to Norm Penning levels, which is just really bad. And there's almost no upside in a Norm Penning type of play. But these three drivers do have a little bit of upside and the consistency, especially between Hill and Breidinger, to just deliver you a decent day, which is what you need rather than somebody not getting you points or losing points for you at the bottom of the board here. And then if you've got the correct chalk plays up front, you grab the correct middle tier guys. That's how you win these.
Exactly how you win them. And you get Ryan Sieg's cousin to be in your chat the day before, which I'm hoping that was his cousin. That'd be kind of cool if it was his cousin in the show. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this truck series, for this Black's Tires 200 from Rockingham. Cody started you out with Chandler Smith as his high price driver at $10,800. I gave you Corey Heim at $1,100 as mine. Cody dipped down to Parker Kligerman at $8,400 for his mid-tier driver. I said Bailey Curry was on the lower end of my mid-tier, but $6,700 for Bailey Curry. Cody gave you Tony Breidinger at $5,700 for his low-price driver. I said Timmy Hill at $5,900 was mine. That will do it for the truck series. We will come back after the break and set up the Xfinity Series for you, all of our favorite plays from that. But first, let me officially tell you about Underdog Fantasy. It is time for my bonus Underdog Pick'em. Underdog Pick'em, you can play any sport and win up to 100x. Underdog has the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix up right now for Formula One. They've got Max Verstappen's finishing projection at 3.5. If you don't break your finger hitting the better than on this one, then I'm pretty sure you are not alive, because look, I know it's been a struggle for Max, but a struggle for Max is pretty much the best season of some of these drivers' lives. So definitely give me the better than 3.5 finishing position for Max Verstappen. Absolutely love that one. Go get that. And in the meantime, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Rhythm is now live for Major League Baseball. Plus, they've got models for NBA and golf. Picks so good, feels like cheap. Building your own model is also simple and easy. Looking at these NBA playoffs, there's this guy that plays, his name is LeBron James, and he does play basketball. And Rhythm has his rebounds set up at 7.5. That's projecting him to get 8.6. So they're suggesting that you take the higher than, the more than, the over than. He's going to get at least 7.5. So if not 8. So get there, get those rebounds and take that, because that is where Rhythm has taken us. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off of an annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. I think I would like the over-under on how many minutes I would last on the court with any of these NBA players. I think if you took the under on 1 second, you would probably be good.
Yeah, I think I would take the under on 1 second.
I'd step back on the court and go, nope, and turn around and go. So yeah, that's probably a safe bet.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Rod, I don't know what your favorite flavor of chalk is. Maybe talk to your Marine buddies and see what their favorite crayon flavor is. Stock up on your favorite flavor of chalk this weekend because I think you're going to need a lot of it. And yeah, back to the top of the board. Justin Allgaier, 11,500.
You're not going to set up the race?
Oh, okay. We can. Do we need to? Just play Justin Allgaier. That's my setting up the race.
That's it.
Come on, I worked that whole ad break on trying to figure out how to go into it, and then I got too excited and I didn't let you set up the race first.
It's okay. You just knew that the other end of this you were going to have your chalk and then your crayons. So I get it. I know.
I was just thinking about my favorite chalk. I'm sorry.
What is your favorite flavor chalk?
What isn't my favorite flavor of chalk?
I like the green flavored crayons. Those are my favorite crayons. So me and my Marine buddies, we cheat all the time. All right. It is the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black Tires. We are set for 250 laps around this 1 mile paved track for 250 miles in this race. Yeah, Cody. So again, this is a little longer than the truck race, but still definitely we're thinking a very, very chalky race.
Yeah, it is a little bit longer, but much like the truck race, I think that it's going to be a similar deal here. You're going to have your fast guys up front. I think that this is just a week to not overthink it too much. And we kind of talked about this with Bristol last week in the Cup Series. We did talk about it. And it panned out exactly how we kind of thought that it would. And that's not to say this is for sure going to be a chalk week. We don't know what we're getting here. But this is just another one where some races, you have that. Don't worry. Come back next week for Talladega. That's anything but chalk. Okay? We'll be talking about anybody, everybody, and fading Kyle Larson like always. But for this week, it's just back to the chalky plays because I think it's going to be the fastest cars, the best drivers. That's what we're going to see the most of. The veteran aspect is definitely going to come into play here again. So I think that's what we're looking at here at Rockingham.
All right. Well then, Cody, as we now get into our picks, who was your high price driver that you've already told us?
This might be surprising to everybody, but Justin Allgaier. Now, interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen this before. Justin Allgaier is $11,500. Next on the board is Sam Mayer at $10,500. A whole $1,000 more expensive for Justin Allgaier. That's where you got to pause and be like, "Ooh, buddy, that is pricey. Is he worth it?" Yes, he is. 60 points for you last week, and that was with Kyle Larson out there dominating the whole race, obviously taking a bunch of points off the board. But he's been so strong this year, and we've seen really good stuff from him. He has finished inside of the top 3 in 5 races in a row. Make that. He's finished in the top 5 in 5 races in a row. Essentially every normal oval we've been on this season, every normal oval we've been on this season since we had we opened with the 2 super speedways and the road course. Since then, top 5 or top 3 for Justin Allgaier each and every single week. He has led laps in every single race except for Atlanta and Coda, which again don't really come into play here anyways. But he's leading laps, he's laying down fastest laps. You got 130 laps led, 102 laps led, 56 laps led, 21 laps led. He just continues to show up each and every single week. We've talked about him for a while being the best driver, one of the best drivers in the series, but there was always that hesitation of, God, things go wrong. The pianos are falling on him. I can't catch a break. He wins the championship last year. Monkey, he's gone. He's off his back. You don't see him anymore. Like, Allgaier has it figured out. He is just in his best zone right now, and I don't want to get away from him while he's in that until he does something to make us get away from it. So I think that 7 car is going to be on rails this week. Clint Boyer, if he was calling the race, would call it a hot rod a million times. And the top of Xfinity this year, just not as heavy as it's been in the past. That makes a big difference, and that could be another reason why Allgaier is just sort of dominating to open the season. But yeah, don't overthink it. Play Allgaier at the top of the board at 11.5.
I can't argue with you on that one. That's my guy. That's Justin Allgaier. That's JRM Magic right there. Speaking of JRM Magic, guy that just left JRM Magic, his former teammate, Sam Mayer, still doing well in that Haas factory little car that could 10,500, just like Cody said, that $1,000 gap between him and Justin Allgaier. But here's the thing, right? As you look at Sam Mayer, his average finish this year, 9.4. Of the drivers that have completed all 9 races so far this season, he is second only to Justin Allgaier in average finish. Justin Allgaier's average finish 7.2, Sam Mayer's 9.4. You look at the guys ahead of him in average finish, right? It's Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman. All 3 of those have only won 1 race, of course. Kyle Larson, duh. And then Eric Almirola, Ross Chastain, even Jordan Anderson with that 1 race. But again, as you get to the guys that have completed all 9 races, he's second to Justin Allgaier in that department. And you look at what he's done as far as DFS wise, he is 3rd overall in fantasy points per race, 35.6. Justin Allgaier, surprisingly enough, Ryan Sieg has a higher average point per race, which is kind of surprising if you look at it, because you don't think, I mean, we talk about Ryan Sieg all the time. We talk about him in the betting episode, and we're always high on his potential. And then sometimes it feels like things just get wiped out, but he's actually put together a pretty good fantasy season. But for Sam Mayer, 32 points last week, 22 the week before, 50 the week before that, 64, 39, 43, 46. Whoops, he lost you 25 in Atlanta, but that's just going to happen. And then 49 in Daytona. So not a bad put together for Sam Mayer. And like I said, I think that he has the opportunity to actually win this race, given the fact that he's been just pretty solid this season, right? 6 top 10s, 5 top 5s in 9 starts, only 4 times this entire season is he's finished outside of the top 5, including Darlington a couple of weeks ago, and then Atlanta when he crashed out. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think the sky's the limit for Sam Mayer. It'll probably be him and Justin Allgaier battling it out for the win this week. So if you take either one of these guys, or if you take both of them and try to figure it out from there, then I think you're good to go.
Yeah, and I think that you will be able to take both. And just like in the truck race, again, don't be afraid to grab these guys at the top, because I think that these are going to be some of the better guys. I like Mayer a lot this week as well. TK saying that's 2025 Xfinity for you. Allgaier than the rest, a.k.a. Allgaier and the kids. Yeah, not wrong. I think that is how the season's gone so far, and I don't know if it's going to change too much from that. All right, let's save you some money. Middle of the pack, Christian Eckes, 7,600. This is a play that I really, really like a lot, because if you look at his average finish, if you look at his average points going through here, it's not great, but that's because there's a couple of bad races in there, right? Atlanta, again, super speedway, you throw it out, doesn't matter. Homestead didn't go his way, got involved in a wreck. Martinsville, did that go anybody's way with the end result? No. So bad points there, but everywhere else, he's looked good, and he's had solid weeks. Last week at Bristol, starts in 22nd, finishes 4th, 4 fast laps mixed in there, nothing too fancy or crazy, but has a good run, 49.8 points. Darlington, 40.6 points. Again, just a solid, strong day. Going back to Phoenix, he looked good. Going back to Las Vegas, he looked good. Some really good runs by Christian Eckes so far this season. And at only 7,600, Kaulig, we often talk about not the greatest of cars, and they can kind of lack a little bit, but they're that second, third tier above some of the other guys for sure in this range, and they're not bad cars. And we know that Eckes is a good driver, even though he's a rookie here in the Xfinity Series. We've seen him for multiple years in the trucks, and he's performed really well in that series, and really, in an overall sense, has performed well. You toss out those couple of bad finishes, 4 top 10 finishes, and 5 top 13s over the last, 6 races, 7, I can count 7 races. But, throwing out those 2 bad ones, it's been all good results. So long as he can get to the end for you, which he does most weeks, Eckes has been a very solid fantasy play.
Yeah, and I talked about him a little bit in the betting episode the other day too. So I'm with you on Eckes. I think he's in for at least a good quality run, and really at $7,600 is kind of all you're looking for, is a good quality run out of him. Hopefully he doesn't take too many chances. something's got to click for him in this series, right? I mean, we watched guys like Jesse Love last year kind of jump in early and just take it by. We're talking about Connor Zilic, we're talking about Carson Quapple, but like Christian Eckes has been good.
Yeah, that's where I think the car does hold him back, because I think if you had dropped him into a JRM car or a JGR or even an RCR car, it might be a little bit of a different story, because we saw it. He had one of the fastest trucks last year, and you saw it on a consistent basis. Colleague is just colleague.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, as an AJ Allmendinger fan, my heart goes out. So, all right, my mid-tier driver, I am going to drop down to Jeb Burton, $6,800. What if I told you that Jeb Burton was inside the top 10 as far as fantasy points per race is concerned? He sits 7th right now with 32.3 fantasy points per race, ahead of guys like Sammy Smith, like Sheldon Creed, like his cousin Harrison Burton, who we've always sung the praise of. Better than Carson Quapple, right? I mean, better than Christian Eckes on a points per race basis. So Jeb Burton, a guy that we kind of talk about in the betting episode as far as being really solid as a top 10 bet almost each and every week. Unfortunately, he doesn't always hit there, but for Jeb Burton, his average finish this season, 16.3, his average start, 20.8. Again, he's just one of those guys that's just going to be around the top 15 at the end of it. And if you're around the top 15, top 16, top 17, you're going to get 26, 27 fantasy points as your base. That's not counting any fast laps. It's not counting any laps led, which, I mean, you're probably not going to get out of Jeb Burton, unfortunately, unless you do get. A couple of weeks ago, he did get you 16 fastest laps at Darlington, but that's not going to happen on a week-to-week basis. But what you will get is a good solid somewhere in the 15th place finish. Daytona started 22nd, finished 16th. Atlanta started 20th, finished 6th. Had a bad day on a road course. Okay, that's fine. Finished 25th. 15th at Phoenix, 23rd at Las Vegas, 15th at Homestead, 11th at Martinsville, 15th at Darlington, and then 21st at Bristol. Unfortunately, that was a pretty bad day for him there. But again, I mean, this is a guy who you just know is going to be right around that 15th place thing. And when you're talking about his price right now at $6,800, you'll take 27 points. You'll take 28 points out of him from a fantasy aspect and not even look back. So I think this is a really good investment on a guy that a lot of people aren't going to look at because they don't realize, and they'll see the fantasy points per race. That's fine. But they'll also see him mired down in the 6,000s and not really pay attention to that. Cause I know when a lot of players build it together, they look at the price, but they're not paying really attention to the fantasy points per race because they're just sort of glossing over it. So yeah, don't be that person. Just go with the Jeb Burton and don't look back.
Yeah, TK checking in too says Jeb Burton reminds me of Justin Haley in the Cup Series, kind of passive, keeps the car alive, so stays in the game as others fall off. Back to the taken veteran angle, right? Jeb is a true veteran at this point, and you do see he just kind of out consistencies and works hard, and he's not ever going to have the fastest car, but he continues to get you good results. You bring him up all the time on the betting show with these longer shot top 10s and stuff because he's constantly in the conversation. Those are the types of guys you want to target in DFS too, because he's constantly in the conversation. That's what you're looking for. We're in a tornado warning, Rod, so hopefully I don't blow away here, but Oof. It keeps, tornado watch, I guess, so it's not that bad. We don't really worry until it's a warning, but it keeps taking my camera out for some reason. If you're watching on the YouTube, but I misspoke earlier. I did say that not everybody was going to make the truck race. That was incorrect. Everybody will make the truck race. It's the Xfinity race where we will have 2 drivers go home. So make sure you're paying attention to that if you're setting lineups ahead of time. But, boy, looking for cheap guys in Xfinity might be even tougher than trucks. You go to the bottom of the board. Vincente Salas, I guess. We'll go with that. Is an option. Probably not a good one, but Dawson Cram, Catherine Legier, Greg Van Alst, Thomas Annunziata, JJ Yaley. You always kind of peek at him, but rough. But then Garrett Smithley is actually where I landed for the cheap guys. And I sort of laugh as I say that because Smithley's a guy that's just been around a long time that's not ever really been in good equipment. But back to getting to the end and being a veteran and being okay. He is in one of those SS Greenlight cars, which they're not great, but they're not horrible either. I mean, they've been okay. We've seen some Cup guys run. Custer ran a few races for them. I think it was Almirola ran some races too. Kind of got that Stewart-Haas partnership, or had that before when that team was Stewart-Haas still. But Smithley is just a pretty average guy for the most part, which again, kind of what you're looking for when you're trying to save as much money as possible without just a complete punt at the bottom of the board. So last week started in 34th, finished in 29th. Again, there is nothing sexy about it, but that's 18 points. It's 18 points is 18 points. You'll take it for a guy at 5,400. Only 5 points at Darlington, so kind of a disappointing day. 47 points at Martinsville. I think he got a little bit lucky there at the end, obviously, with the finish of that race. But Homestead, again, just starts 37th, finishes 31st. It is nothing overly crazy, but 16.5 points, 21 points, 20 points, 27 points. He just kind of consistently is going to finish 25th to 30th, but he's going to beat those few cars that fall out. He's going to beat the few cars that wreck. He's not going to start well because there's not a lot of speed in that car. That's what I'm looking for when I'm trying to save a little bit of money down here. So give me words you've probably never heard me say and may never hear me say again. Give me Garrett Smithley this week at 5,400.
So I don't know if this will make you feel better or worse, in that I looked at Smithley too, and I was like, okay, well, let me pull up his stats. Let me see what we've got. Let me see what we're working with. And just like you put in the doc,
Well,
I put some,
I did put yes, I forgot to mention that. I did put Smithley 5,400 with the puke emoji because it did make me throw up a little bit in my mouth. Actually, before I put Smithley in there, I landed on a different guy, and then I went to the doc, and you already picked him. So I do agree with you on your punt as well. But just to kind of where we're at lineup construction wise, like with the plays we're giving right now, there's $8,200 left. So you can get an all guy or a mayor at the top of the board. You squeeze in a Eckes and a Burton, and really, you might not have to play any of these punts. But depending on how you're structuring your deal, I mean, right now you could fit a Ryan Sieg in there, which obviously we'd always suggest to play. But again, we're going to continue to give you the plays this way because we're trying to highlight guys in different ways, and you're going to build lineups differently. But just to kind of give you an idea of what you are able to get without having to, just massively punt all the way at the bottom of the board.
But I also don't think this is a massive punt either, and that's Ryan Ellis. $5,600 for Ryan Ellis down there at the bottom of the board. Ryan Ellis currently is scoring you 23.8 fantasy points per race, better than Christian Eckes, better than Bonsignor, better than Kyle Sieg, better than Taylor Gray, better than Anthony Alfredo. Some of these guys who you really talk about and William Sawalich, better than that on a race-to-race basis. So not bad for you. His average finish this season, 23.4. His average start, 28.4. And a lot like Cody was talking about with Garrett Smithley, when you look at his log, his driver log, his finishing log this year, all you see is status running. He has not wrecked out of a race this season. Is not a guy that's going to give you a lot of DNFs because he's a guy that just knows that he doesn't have a lot of equipment back in the garage that he can continue to wreck cars through. So he's going to have to pay attention to things. He's going to have to take care of his equipment. And that's something that you want out of a guy like that. And that's somebody you want out of a driver that's that cheap. So I really like him for his potential to just kind of get you right there. In fact, last week at Bristol, started 32nd, finished 27th. Darlington, 25th, 22nd. And you look through some of what Ryan Ellis can do when it comes to just getting you points and getting you to the end of races. You very much love what he's capable of. Like I said, so let's see, Daytona, 24th, 23rd, Atlanta, 26th, 18th, Austin, 34th, 16th. That's a road course too. That's not bad. Bad day at Phoenix, 33rd. It happens. 34th at Las Vegas. But here's the thing. He also didn't lose you a whole lot of points because he started 28th in that Phoenix race. So if you rostered him there, you weren't that bad off. Vegas got you one place differential point. So that was 35th to 34th. Homestead, 28th to 20th. Martinsville, 24th to 18th. Darlington, 25th to 22nd. So again, I mean, this is an opportunity for you to really just go down to the end of the board and to grab yourself somebody who, is going to get you 20, 23, 31 points and, maybe even 45 or 33 like you did a couple weeks ago too. So if I get 25 to 26 points out of Ryan Ellis at $5,600, I'm going to be very, very happy with what I did. So, and then like Cody said, then you can start cramming in all of the Mayors, all the Allgaiers. You can maybe even put a Creed in there as well if you really want to get crazy with it. But Yeah, so give me Ryan Ellis at $5,600 for my mid low tier driver.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, he was the guy that I had selected here at the bottom before I noticed you had him. So I think that he is, again, just a consistent guy, been around a little while. You don't have those there's not big expectations. Just go out there. These guys are just running their own race. To use the Corey LaJoie thing, they're stacking their own pennies, right? And just kind of plugging away. And that's what you're looking for here at the bottom is stack a few pennies and then get your big dollars with the big guys up top.
But see, and that's what I like about the Smithleys and the Ellises of the world is because their name isn't brought up a lot and people don't necessarily, they forget that Ryan Ellis is on the track. I mean, Ryan doesn't, but everybody else sort of does.
Yeah. And this is, talking about it here helps save you from, okay, I plugged in these three guys at the top, scroll all the way to the bottom, click that guy. Like sometimes those plays work out, but if you just, budget appropriately and spend a little bit more at the bottom, there are guys down here that you don't hear on the TV broadcast. You don't see very often. You don't hear their names, but they're going to get you just enough more that it can make a big difference for you.
Indeed. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this Xfinity North Carolina education. Okay, I got to get it right. I'll get it right for you guys because I don't like to get it wrong. The North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tires race. Cody started you out with, let's see, Justin Allgaier at $11,500 for his high price driver. I said Sam Mayer at $10,500 was my high price driver. Cody said Christian Eckes at $7,600 was his high price driver. I said Jeb Burton at $6,800 was mine. Cody dropped down to Garrett Smithley. $5,400 is his low price driver. I said Ryan Ellis at $5,600 was mine. All right, Cody. I see that. I love talking both Xfinity and trucks. I think we need to petition our way to get back to this again.
Agreed. So if you enjoyed this, send tag Sean Green and Kramer in the Discord and blow them up. And that's you got to put in the work and help us out there.
Yeah, you certainly do. But speaking of putting in the work, we did. All of our days are done. It is now time to just sit back, relax, and enjoy Rockingham for the first time in my recent memory. So
also, I can't believe we made an hour into this already, but don't forget about Casey Kane. He is going to be in Saturday's race. I looked at him. He's not bad. It was in the 8,000 price range. I kind of considered him, but he's going to be super popular this weekend, and I think that kind of takes out. I wanted to find the way to bet on him. I guess he's 9,500, so he's the sixth highest guy on the board. Brandon Jones is cheaper. Quadful's cheaper. Like, we didn't talk about those guys today, but we talked about him yesterday on the betting episode. Sieg's a little cheaper. I love Casey Kane. Everybody is going to play Casey Kane this week because he's a big name. What 15, 16 time most popular driver. They're going to click on his name. I don't love the DFS angle of Kane this week. So I guess I just wanted to kind of toss that out there.
Yeah, because anything can happen like that. He could get out there and blow the whole setup or whatever. But yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think he'll be fine. I don't see him like dominating this race. I think he could get the top 5 like we talked about. I think if some things fall right, he could get the top Chevy for the number it's at. It's good, but I don't see him leading a bunch of laps where I could see Qualpole doing that. I think he'll have a solid day. I don't know if it's going to be great for DFS.
Yeah. But there's your obligatory Casey Kane mention of the episode. All right. Well then, Cody, the only thing left for us to do is to send everybody on their way to fill out their DFS lineups and to enjoy the weekend of Rockingham racing. Have a very happy WrestleMania weekend as well. But in the meantime, Cody, before we go, we're coming back with Talladega. So this will be
Talladega. Get out the dartboards. We're going to have a lot of fun next week. I love me some super speedway betting. We'll be fading Kyle Larson once again. It's beautiful. Love it. Can't wait.
Should I get Will Ferrell as our guest for next week?
If he can pull those strings, do it.
All right. I'm going to get Ricky Bobby to help us with Talladega picks. So
we'll see if you can pull that off.
Well, that'd be so much fun. All right, Cody. Well, then let everybody know in the meantime where they can find you and not Ricky Bobby.
Yes, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Make sure you click that subscribe button over on YouTube. We appreciate it, getting close to that 1,000 mark number. Best of luck this weekend. Happy Easter to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in about everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you check out Seth rolling solo on the back road this evening, talking about Rockingham. And find a bunch of other fun stuff out there as well. All right, we'll come back for you next week to talk Talladega. But in the meantime, everybody, thanks for a very successful week. Go back, listen to the betting episodes for both the Xfinity and the truck episodes as we've been able to do this week. So, yeah, until then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.